So, did you hear what's going on in New York City? Yeah, we've got some stuff to talk about that's going to probably boil your blood because we all fell for it. Not all of us. A lot of us fell for it and it wasn't good. And this should probably piss you off a little bit.
It's time to dive in.
All right. Welcome back to the Rude Bard podcast. My buddy over here to the right is
The Rude.
Rude, and I'm the Barn. Welcome to the podcast, everyone. We've got some shit to talk about today. And I think if you haven't been had your head in the sand or anything like that, you kind of know what's been going on. We're going to talk COVID response and what we all had to do back in the day. Lockdown, not go to work, close our businesses. Crazy time. You remember that, Rude? Do you remember that at all?
It's a touchy subject now because nobody wants to talk about it. No one wants to admit fault. No one wants to say, "Hey, it was all bullshit." No one wants to do that.
Yeah.
But
why would they?
We like to touch on touchy subjects, so
we're touchy-feely guys.
Let's dive in.
Yeah. Well, let's get into this a little bit because I'm going to play some reminders for everyone to see if they kind of can remember some of the stuff that kind of went on back in the day. And
well, the media is really good about making us forget and erasing stuff and making stuff go away that they don't like. But we remember. We remember.
Oh, we remember.
And we're gonna remember. And let's talk about why we remember, why we should remember. So we're keeping all these things kind of in the forefront of what's coming up because something's coming up.
Something's happening, and let's not fall for the same old crap again that we did before. When I say we, I mean those of you who really fell for this out there, because we were kind of like, wait a minute, something not right.
Well, as a collective.
Yeah, as a collective, of course. We don't want to ever put anybody down. Our audience who do watch this are probably smarter than the average bear. So I think we're probably pretty good.
Yeah.
So let's do some reminders, shall we, Rude?
Let's do it, brother.
This was our hard-earned taxpayer dollars at work right here. When we had the shutdowns in California, for example, and Gavin Newsom decided to really go after anybody who was outside by themselves. Heaven forbid you should be outside. And we've got this little dude on the beach running from the cops because he was out there by himself without a mask. Look at it. And he falls in, and the cops are getting there. Hey, you're getting your uniforms wet, guys. That's going to shrink up on you.
Get him.
Oh, this is a hardened criminal right here.
Yeah.
You got the helicopter. Did you see the helicopter just fly over, by the way?
Yeah.
Classic.
They got choppers on him. They got a sniper in the guard tower. In the lifeguard tower.
In waves at Venice Beach. This is during COVID. Everybody remember this at all? I mean, it's unbelievable.
1, 2. Wait, yeah, stop there. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cops.
Maybe 6. This bald head right behind here as well.
A stoner surfer? Come on, man.
My God, dude. What in the hell were we thinking doing this shit? I mean, it's just unbelievable, this crap. And did anybody think that this was really weird? Those of you who are really down for we got to stay safe and all that stuff. Did this really get you?
Yeah, I the thing is though too was that not excessive? 5 cops on a stoner surfer. When we're told we're not supposed to be outside. However, we saw government meetings going on. We saw a bunch of stuff like that. And but we can't go to the beach.
Yeah, outside where the wind is blowing usually, and I mean the chance of you getting anything.
It didn't look like there was anybody within 6 feet of him, so
Right.
He
Until the
wasn't
cops
caught.
got there.
Yeah, he wasn't. So
I'm worried. I'm worried they all got COVID right there,
yeah, I'm sure all those police officers.
gathering in that little group. Hey, you guys aren't 6 feet apart. What the hell?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, that stoner surfer, he just wanted to go for a walk on the beach.
Oh, exactly.
There wasn't anybody within 6 feet of him. He wasn't coughing on anybody.
Right.
No one was coughing on him. Yeah, but he wasn't wearing a mask.
Yeah. Well, neither
Barn.
was this
He was
guy.
not wearing a mask.
Yeah, neither was this hooligan criminal right here, paddleboarding by himself. How dare he paddleboard by himself? Look at this. Do you see anybody within 6 feet of him? Wait, there they are. Oh, there they are.
He might
600
give the
yards
fish.
away.
He
All right,
might give
60
the
years
fish COVID, man. He could have given the fish COVID.
And then you eat the fish, you ingest the COVID, and then you're
Tackle
killing
that
grandma.
guy. Ticket him.
Oh
That's
my God.
horseshit.
Now wait, watch. There's more to this. It's not just the cops on the beach. Check this out. Oh my God, we got the fucking army coming after us.
Send the Navy, send the Coast Guard. This is getting out of hand, friends.
It's the lifeguard in there, Coast Guard, and there's Coast Guard boats going after us. Oh my God, this guy's a danger to humanity. Do y'all remember this?
Wow.
What did this?
That's this is the first time that I've seen this video. This is insane.
Under the pier, dude. Under the pier. There they are, arresting him way in the back there.
Was this in California or was that in Florida?
That's in California. That looks like Malibu.
Wow.
Yeah, empty Malibu. That's where that was.
Empty Malibu. Yeah.
Empty Malibu. It just keeps going. I mean, it's just like, are you freaking kidding me that we took people off of a beach and did this too? The next one I'm going to find should boil some people's blood because maybe you remember doing this yourself. Maybe you were just one of those. Let's see if I have it in here. One of those moms that were taking their kids to the park, and you're outdoors. Let's see if I can find it. Sorry, I'm still looking here. But do you remember that? Do you remember people going to the park? These moms going to the park.
Well,
And
you know, the thing was too. I took my little ones to the park.
Yeah,
a couple times. There was a park not far from where we lived. A couple blocks down, a couple blocks up.
Yeah,
and it was a big park. And there wasn't a lot of people there, and I was afraid. Like I felt like a criminal.
Yeah,
I did. I felt like, like that I shouldn't go out in the day, and you know, I take them over there. They need to stretch out. Yeah, we had the backyard, and we'd play and stuff like that. But to leave the confines of our home, other than to get groceries,
right,
and you had to wear a mask to do that. And they encouraged you to not spend more than an hour or so. So, you know, I was following the rules. Obviously, like I didn't get the jab. Me and you, we're both still pure bloods.
Baby.
But you know, but I was kind of I fell into the scare tactics, right?
Yeah.
So I put my mask on, I'd go to the store for an hour, less than an hour. I'd get our essentials and then go back home.
Right.
But there's a part, like I said, went to the park, took the girls to the park, let them ride their bikes, and I felt like I was looking over my shoulder the whole time.
Yeah.
Because I felt like a criminal.
Yeah, like who's going to say
me feel like I was a criminal for going to the park, Barn. Going to the park.
Dude.
Taking your kids to the park.
Did this not mess up everybody's heads? Going, wait a minute.
So much.
It turned everybody into a freaking criminal who didn't think that this made any sense whatsoever. And then we're second guessing ourselves.
The whole time. Yeah, we're second guessing ourselves and thinking that we're the bad people. because they're telling us we're the bad people.
Oh, because
Like,
we were. Because we didn't go along with their narrative.
exactly.
Their
And then
big
after a while,
campaign.
I was like, okay, no cops today.
Right.
No cops the next day. No cops the second day. I was like, okay, maybe I can breathe a little bit for taking my children to the park.
How messed up is that, man?
For
I'm telling
Christ's sake, are you
Jesus.
kidding me?
Insane. Well, now you're not the only one who is feeling that way because, and thank God you didn't get arrested, but this poor gal right here, and I can't, this is the Idaho mom that took her kids to the
The
park.
Idaho mom, yes, yeah.
Let's check this out real quick because this should make you and everybody else who tried to do what you did, taking your kids outside in the air, the chances of getting COVID, you could get struck by lightning, die, get revived, get back to life, get struck by lightning again, and you'd have a better chance of that than getting COVID. Right?
You're not wrong. You are not wrong.
It's like the people that drive in a convertible and they have their mask on and they're by themselves even.
Are you kidding me right now?
Did anybody see that person? Those persons, people driving around?
It's
oh my God, you really have to wonder.
And it's still happening to today, and it's laughable.
Do you drive down the street and you sit there and you want to yell out the window, "What are you still wearing your mask for? Take your damn mask off, idiot. It's not doing anything."
Not doing anything but getting them sick.
Yeah, because you're breathing in the same shit that you were breathing out that you're supposed to breathe out.
Exactly.
But you're going to suck it back in because you have that damn mask on.
But
you need the oxygen, you need the air, you need the airflow, and you're restricting it. Did that make any sense to anybody? Thanks, Anthony Fauci.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
douchebag.
Yeah.
All right, he gets me pissed off because it's just shit
boils my blood
to everybody. Yeah,
and there, I think we should do a deep dive on that. I don't know. We've given nods to friends and family and stuff on our show before, but there is a really good one that I want to maybe throw out here while you brought up Fauci. Yeah. Dr. Mike Schwartz wrote a book called Fauci's Fiction. Yeah. And we don't have a screen grab or anything, but it's getting hard to find. It's getting harder and harder to find. You can still grab it on Amazon, but that's the whole thing. He was shadow banned because he was telling the truth. He is a research doctor. He did a fuck ton of research on COVID, why this doesn't work, and why it was a fucking big sham. Yeah. Excuse me for saying the F word.
Sometimes that's warranted. So,
but however, it's a great book. I'm about halfway through it. But if you're listening, check it out. It's called Fauci's Fiction by Dr. Mike Schwartz. He's a great guy. He's done great research, and he's giving out real facts and truths about COVID and some other things. So,
but are they real facts and truths according to him, or I couldn't even say it with a straight face, or Fauci, or those guys? I mean, Pfizer.
Well,
I mean, whose real truth is it?
Well, that's the whole thing. It's rebutting what they did. You know what I mean? And the sham that they told us. And
huge sham. People need to understand this shit.
It was, and you know, you have the woke and the awake. We are the awake. We're on the awake team. Dr. Mike Schwartz is on the awake team. And then you have the woke, and the woke is ridiculous.
I just wanted to bring up. Does Fauci not look like Alfred E. Newman from Mad Magazine?
He so does, dude.
he so does. And you're just like, oh my God. So on our Etsy store, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, Rude, but before we get too far past Fauci, I wanted to say, go get this shirt on Etsy.com/shop/The Rude Barn, and you can pick this shirt up. It's Mad Magazine, and it's just mad scientists Alfred E. Fauci. And I can't remember what I put on there, but anyway, but go pick. I've got several colors, several sizes. Pick it up at our shop. You're not going to regret it because it's awesome.
You're not going to regret it. It's great.
It's awesome.
And then it that shirt alone will help you get into conversations with the woke, and then you can educate them.
See how many people you can trigger wearing that shirt
at church.
At church, exactly. Oh my God! And I had to throw that up there while we were talking.
Yeah, no,
about
that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Well timed, Barn. Well timed.
God, so funny.
All right, let's get into the gal who got
let's just check out this item.
Yeah.
If all of these stories don't upset you from what we had to go through, you're dead inside, or your head is so far in the sand it's never going to come out. And we're trying to help you understand this is the bullshit that's going on, because all of this is going to lead up to the piece de resistance with our good friend Dr. J. Varma from New York City, who ran the COVID response there. And wait till you hear that. If you haven't heard this story, do we have something to show you?
Mm-hmm.
So check out this Idaho mom and what they did to her, just like you, except you didn't get arrested, when she took her kids to the park.
It's to stop the spread of COVID-19. And one mom found out the hard way. Officials are serious about it. As Diane McInerney reports, she was arrested and charged with trespassing for entering a closed city playground.
Controversy erupts as a mom was arrested in a playground closed due to the pandemic.
Officer, you don't want to do that.
The arrest of a Meridian woman has sparked backlash.
I feel like I was singled out because I was the only person that was arrested.
The incident happened at a park in Meridian, Idaho, where anti-lockdown parents reportedly sent out this plea on social media. There are a bunch of us taking our kids to the park to tear the tape off the playground. Let's take a stand.
Police say they went to the playground after receiving several calls about what was taking place. They say when they got there, caution tape and metal signs stating that the playground was closed had been removed. And they repeatedly informed everyone it was time to clear out.
I just told you. You can close it anytime.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. You don't need to talk to me rude. I'm just a mom of my kids.
Then things come to a head.
You have 5 seconds.
Arrest me. Do it. Record it.
Okay, this is
arrest me, a-hole.
Officer, you don't want to do that.
As the mom is led away, others protest.
He is arresting her for being on a public playground.
In a statement, cops say mom of 2, Sarah Brady, was charged with trespassing after failing to adhere to the rules in these very trying times.
Okay, it goes on, but that gives you an idea, everybody, of what the hell we went through with that. Now, let's see. Then we have our good friends Chris Cuomo and Don Lemon, who were on CNN talking about, and I'm going to keep going. There's a few more. I got to get these set up for you so you can see all the BS that happened during this whole thing. And we got people like this, and Chris Cuomo at least is starting to come around, although he hasn't apologized for calling people who are unvaccinated all the sorts of names you're going to hear probably, I hope, in this video. I haven't checked it fully, but you're going to hear him and Don Lemon there talk about how we're killing everybody. People who weren't vaccinated are killing everybody, and they're stupid, and they're this, that, and the other. It's just unbelievable. And we'll hear a little bit about what they're going to say here, and then we'll react real quick, and then we can play a bunch more because there's more.
Coddling people when it comes to this and the vaccine, saying, "Oh, you can't shame them. You can't call them stupid. You can't call them silly." Yes, they are. The people who aided and abetted Trump are stupid because they believed his big lie. The people who are not getting vaccines, who are believing the lies on the internet instead of science, it's time to start shaming them. What else? Or leave them behind.
Fauci science, by the way.
Because they are keeping the majority of Americans behind.
You want to leave black and brown people behind too there, Don Lemon, because they also make up a healthy percentage of those people who have decided that right now they're going to remain unvaccinated. The hypocrisy here. My other favorite word starts with H too. Anyway, I'm not going to say that. Morgan.
Well,
I'll move ahead and see if there's a little bit more where they show them talking about it. But if you remember those clips and you remember people like Rachel Madcow talking about how the vaccine stops the transmission, you won't go any further, it's like all this shit, and you just sit there and go, well, if it did that, why are you worried about anybody who didn't get vaccinated?
Yeah.
I thought you were protected.
And nobody, so if you're protected, you got the shot,
right?
You're not going to get it from me, the unvaxxed,
because you're protected.
Right? I'm rolling the dice. I'm taking a chance.
Right.
I might get it, but I'm not going to take the vaccine. But you're protected though, because you got the vaccine.
But I have to get vaccinated because you're protected, so that you don't get COVID.
It doesn't make sense. It's dumb. So you're wearing a shield against me, and I'm taking the chance that I might get it. But if I get it, you're already protected. So why are you forcing me to get it? Because I'm taking the chance that this virus is so bad that I might die getting this sickness, which was no worse than the common cold. It was no worse than I mean, so my own experience. Sorry to
no, you're fine. Yeah.
Derail.
Preach,
but my own experience. So the November before we got shut down, right?
Okay.
When did we get shut down?
2023, we got shut down March 13th, 14th of 2024, 2020. 2019 is when November.
So November of 2019, I got sick. I got the flu, right? Yeah. And it had been years since I got that sick. Years.
Yeah.
I was running to the bathroom. Are
you saying this is prior to the COVID vaccine coming out? Or COVID?
This is before the news even broke.
Yeah.
That there was something going on, right?
Yeah.
I got sick. Like I said, hadn't been that sick in years. However, I at the time I was living with we had 7 kids in the house at any given point. We were both working inside and outside of the house. So there was germs going on. The kids were in school and all this kind of stuff, yada yada. But and that's cold season, right? It's cold and flu season. I get sick. Like I said, the sickest I've been in years. But it was like 3-4 days, and it was bad. But I came out of it, 3-4 days. It wasn't bad. I was good. Didn't have to go to the hospital. I was good. Came out of it. And since then, I haven't got that sick again. Like I said, it had been 20 years since I got that sick. But the thing was like, it wasn't like deathly ill. I didn't feel like I was on my deathbed. I didn't feel like I said, didn't feel like I had to go to the hospital or anything like that. It was just like, get through it, just take a few days, get through it. Fluids, yada, 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 whatever. And then this thing comes out and I'm like, really? It's a strain of the flu.
Well, and I think what we're both trying to say too is we're not saying this wasn't real. We're not saying this didn't exist. We're not saying people didn't get sick. My wife had the whole taste bud thing and smell thing going on where for a long time after. Mm-hmm. So sure, it was probably maybe a little different, of course, but overall symptoms were pretty much the same. Right. There were a few things, but a lot of people die from the flu. Okay, a lot of people get deathly ill from the flu as well. So a lot crossing over same or similar.
Well, don't you think, Barn, that like it was just publicized? Mm-hmm. Because every year for all the years, people get sick.
Right.
People get the flu. People die from getting sick.
80,000
pneumonia. I mean, how many people die from pneumonia every year? My grandpa died from pneumonia in 88.
Yeah.
Right? Or 82, something like that. But people die. The only difference is it was publicized now. That was it. That was it. And then they tried to put an agenda on it. And then they had a vaccine within 2 weeks.
Well, question.
Horseshit.
The question I had was, why didn't most people stop for a second and say, well, wait a minute. Why is it that it's only one thing that's going to save you from getting sick or from dying or whatever else they were telling you? One thing. That particular vax, after they got it fast-tracked. That's one thing I completely disagree with what Trump was doing.
Yeah.
When he fast-tracked that warp speed to put that through, I disagreed with that altogether. I'm like, maybe he was trying to appease the other side. So everybody was just like, okay, we're trying to do good for the people, make people feel good that there's something there to help.
Well, in his defense, he didn't know either.
No, exactly.
He was being fed the bullshit, and he had to do something.
Right. That's my feeling. Yeah, that's my thought about it. Is he probably had to do that? Yeah.
But he didn't have the power or the time to research or the time to sit back and think. Say, hey, just take zinc and vitamin C, and you're going to be fine.
Right.
He didn't have the time to do that. And he was trying to get the collective, out of a, I guess, I mean, they were scared.
Yeah.
We were all scared.
Well, nobody knew exactly.
And nobody knew. So like, I don't fault him for doing that, but at the same time, he could have done some research on his own, but it was a scary time. What are you going to do?
Yeah. And the thing is
the wheels were already in motion.
Yeah. Maybe a lot of people don't realize this, but it takes a good decade to get a vaccine to market.
Right.
Because you have to do the long-term studies, long-term effects, everything like that. It used to be that if you had, I think it was 50 adverse effects or 50 deaths or something to that effect. I think it was 50 adverse effects. They yanked it off the market. There were reported only like 20,000. And yet they never pulled this off the market, saying, well, wait a minute, maybe we've pushed this out a little too quickly without seeing what's going on. But they never did that. They used emergency use authorization to push this through. And that technically can only be done if there's not an alternative treatment. Okay. So when you talk about hydroxychloroquine, when you talk about remdesivir, which was horrible, and you never should have done it, but it probably worked for the COVID, but it was horrible with other things. Ivermectin, Joe Rogan was, just shellacked for that online. Well, guess what? I've read the studies about ivermectin, and it's probably the most effective way to stop the transmission of the spike proteins onto your cells. It stops it. It'll kill it. But ivermectin was generic, or it's not in patent anymore, and therefore they couldn't make money on it. So they said, no, that stuff doesn't work. You can only use Pfizer's or Moderna's, Johnson Johnson's vaccine. Did you not think that there was something weird when they had to store it at minus 86 degrees Fahrenheit?
Right.
That there was well, the instant you take it out of that deep freeze, it's going to warm up immediately. Minus 80, minus 50, minus 20, room temperature eventually. What happens to it when it warms up beyond that and it hasn't been injected? And then have you seen, I was going to say, have you seen the video? Where the gal puts it under the microscope and she starts seeing little wormy things.
Yeah, little wormy things
waking up and moving around in this drop of vaccine.
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
The big kicker for me, and again, those who are listening, sound off in the chat because I want to hear your side of the story if it's different from ours. So please sound off in the chat. Let us know what you think. But for me, the crazy thing is when it first came out and they were talking about it, they said that it can be killed with Lysol, basically. You know the Lysol can that you get, and it says 99.9% effective on all viruses and
including the coronavirus.
So what did I do?
The most popular.
I went and stocked
easily
up
made
on
virus.
that. I still have stock of that same stock that I bought back then of this the Lysol disinfectant spray. And
you can't drink it.
I thought, well, isn't this special?
Remember how everybody was spraying down the door handles and the desks and the phones and every little thing on your groceries?
But at the same time, so you do that, then why am I wearing a mask? If this spray can kill it, why am I wearing a mask? Why am I told to stay inside? Why can't I go to the park? Why am I getting arrested? For walking down the beach, like if this can be killed with this disinfectant spray, and they said too that it can't live in the open air for more than, what did they say, like
30 minutes or something?
30 minutes, 30 minutes or something like that. Then I thought, why are we freaking out about this?
No.
This sounds like the flu, like any other flu.
And then we find out the 6 foot number was arbitrary. Like what? Well, we were going to do 10 feet, but people don't really know the distance 10 feet. Oh, stick your arms out. That's approximately 6 feet. People can remember that. Okay, let's say it's that. And that's what it was. And they found out about that they had no idea. There was no science behind that. Fauci.
This is so stupid.
I mean, it's just asinine. Let's move on a little bit to another one, because trust me, we can go on for hours on this.
All day on this.
Here's our good friend Anthony Cuomo.
Anthony Cuomo, yeah.
Andrew, Andrew.
Andrew, yeah.
I was trying to put him out of my head as this guy is just. Anyway, but here's how he was. I think he's kind of come around a little bit more like his brother has as well, but still. But Andrew Cuomo was talking about stuff and locking down everything.
The second way you reduce the spread besides testing is reduce the density of people. We all talked about how it's contagious, touching surfaces, etc. Reduce the density. So we're going to take very dramatic actions in that regard. To reduce the number of people in contagious environment, no gathering with 500 people or more.
Oh my God. You hear that? No gathering of 500 people or more. Where did that come from? So if we have 499, we're okay.
I hope this is going in the direction that we talked about, because this is a beautiful thing, and this is a good segue into
where we're gonna go.
Yeah, where we're gonna go.
Well,
I like where your head's at on this, because it is ridiculous.
Yeah,
and just the statement reducing the density to me almost sounds like population control, does it not?
It's so odd. Coincidence?
But what happened? The ultra sick, the ultra weak, they died.
Right.
And then now the people that got the vaccine, now what's happening? You're having heart murmurs. You're having people you're having people just die on the spot. Like
that. What is what is the heart one? Perioditis. The heart one that the younger kids were getting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think everybody knows what I'm talking about. Pericarditis. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Well, and that was the whole thing. Like they talked about the ultra old and the ultra young don't get the vaccine,
right?
Because the ultra young, wasn't affecting them, right?
Yeah,
it was only affecting basically from 25 to 50.
And even those people, it was really older, over 60, really, were the ones that really were more at risk and obese and everything.
Right. Well, yeah, but you know, they were talking to, you know, they said, well, you know, if you have these issues, but the scare tactic was so bad that even the people that thought they may have, you know, questionable issues, they were still getting it.
Yeah.
And what pissed me off the most, Barn, at the time, I was in a relationship with a first responder. Basically, she was a hospital nurse. Well, she did rounds, and it really ruined. I mean, for me, it really ruined our relationship because we were fighting about it. She was of the fact she's like, well, they were forcing her to get it. She was kind of on the fence. She didn't really know which side to go, but she had been in healthcare for a long time.
Right.
It was her career. She went to school for it. She, you know, this is what she did. And then to be questioned on something that, you know, she didn't really feel necessary, and then buying into the rhetoric. She bought into it, and then she was trying to sell it to me, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm staying true blood. I'm not, no way. Yeah. There's no reason for it. Okay. I get it. Your first responder, you had to do it. They made you do it to keep your job. And she was one of the ones to where it's like, either you do it or you're done. But that's her career.
Which is ironic because they needed the nurses and the doctors to you know, treat people who came in.
Right.
With whatever, not just this, but whatever.
You know, and I don't blame her because at the same time, okay, do you want to end your career?
Right.
Over a stance that you don't even know is right or wrong at that point. You know, it's 2021. You know, we had barely come out of the shutdown.
Yeah.
You know,
which
and
was asinine to begin with, of course.
Right. And so like I'm like, okay, do what you want to do. Like I don't want to argue about this. I know that you have to do it to keep your job. Problem is, though, Barn, is we'd fight about it constantly. And what do you call it? The oh shit. I can't remember the name. Where it would kind of come, we were together. We, you know, we had sex. We did these things. However, and then
unmarried sex before marriage.
Unmarried sex, yeah. I'm a sinner. But you're
going straight to hell, you know that, right?
We exchanged fluids, so it was
TMI, dude.
It was it was kind of soaking into me. What did they call that? The shedding. The shedding.
Yeah.
Dude, so crazy. My joints started to hurt like I could not get them to stop hurting. I was getting
I remember you telling me this before.
Yes, I was feeling feverish. I just felt sick all the time.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and we didn't live together, but then like you know, we'd spend a week apart, you know, we're working, we're doing kid stuff, blah 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 blah. We'd spend a week apart and I start feeling better. I just start feeling better. I was like, oh, okay, my joints aren't anymore. I'm feeling good. And then we'd get, you know, we'd spend the weekend together, and then all of a sudden, God, I feel I'm achy. I feel
so start sick. Correlating now that okay, something.
And then we finally, you know, split and went our separate ways. Now I feel great.
Interesting.
I felt sick in what now? 2.5 years, 3 years almost. I mean,
I have a good
real dude, and it was
no shit.
I hated it.
I
hate that it ruined relationships like that.
And see, it's stuff like that. We're saying it's real. We get it. It is a virus that affected a lot of people. We're not saying it's not real. It's the response we're talking about. The response to this and the hypocrisy that's going on. I have one of my really good friends is a nurse. RN, and she's of the similar mindset that we are. We're actually the same. Actually, we're all kind of, F the system, F this shit that we went through. And she never got it. They threatened her as well, that she was going to lose her job. And she's like, you know what? F you.
How do you fight back on that? How did she fight back?
I can't remember. I'll have to get into it a little bit more with her and find out what she did. I think she was just, she's a spitfire. She's awesome. And I don't think she said, you know what? You need me. I'm treating people, and you need me here. And I've been doing this for she's been there for 20 years or whatever more. She can tell me and I'll let you know. But she didn't put up with it. She said, you know what, you can try to fire me all you want, but I'm going to sue your ass for, wrongful termination. If you do, you can't force something into my body that I do not want. And went on like that. And I think that's basically how she just stood her ground and said, you know what, F you, I'm not doing that. I'm not putting something in my body that I don't know what it is. And we didn't know what it is, and we still don't really know what it is.
Right. It was garbage.
So it's insane. So good old Andrew here keeps going on about all this, and this will all come right back together. It'll circle around Saki around this whole thing.
I can't wait.
From 0 to 500, we're reducing the occupancy by 50%.
Oh my God. Did anybody just sit here and go, well, what if I only have 498 or 490 or 4? Am I okay? What if I have 503?
Hey, we got 480. We can do this.
We're good. 499. And then, hey, Tony, you need to get outside the door for a second while I finish counting, and then you can come back in.
Grandma's going to leave so you can come in.
Right, exactly.
So 50% of your seated capacity is the new capacity for a facility.
Oh my God.
That sounds like
those new rules will go into effect 5 o'clock on Friday.
Let me pull something right out of my ass. 5 o'clock Friday. Let's just set it up there.
Now this is 5 o'clock.
So you're totally fine up until 5 o'clock on Friday to have a rave at your house.
5 o'clock on Friday, we're shutting it down. We're shutting no more rave.
1,000 people at your house if you can fit them in there. Up until 5 p.m. All right, half of y'all gotta let's put that temporary fence up so that half the yard is half the party and the other half is the other. I mean, that's how ridiculous this stuff was getting.
People weren't saying what?
Yeah,
mentioning this. They were
going, oh my God, yeah,
ridiculous.
Unbelievable.
Except for the Broadway theaters in Manhattan, where it will go into effect 5 o'clock today.
Oh, today.
Yes,
yes. So but because the Broadway theaters, they're safe. They're safe. Everybody.
No.
They're good.
I think he said the opposite thing. I think he's saying the Broadway theaters need to stop now. You have to limit it right now.
Oh, okay.
But everywhere else, you can wait till Friday because the theaters are a cesspool, like a hospital.
Yeah,
of disease and debauchery, whereas in your own facility at home or
where
office or whatever,
you clean 3 times a week. Yeah, it's you're.
I mean, it's just pull this shit right out of our asses and just see what people think.
Cannot believe, like, going back and looking on this stuff, I cannot believe the bullshit. It was just insane. Let's just keep going, dude. I'm having a ball.
Oh, I know. This is awesome. I mean, it needs to be said.
It's only several hours, but we've already been talking to the Broadway theaters, and they are aware that we're going to be doing this. So they have notice. These rules don't apply to schools, hospital, nursing homes, mass transit facilities.
Hey, and just remember, this is the dude that put people who had COVID into the nursing homes because they didn't have any more room at the hospital. And he killed all of the old folks who were susceptible to anything like this happening. And he put people with COVID into the nursing homes. You remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that.
It's like,
and
okay.
then you had old people that weren't even sick just dropping like flies.
Yeah, and not being able to see their family members because they're on their deathbed, and you couldn't say, "Oh, there's Grandma through the window." Hi, Grandma. I know you're going to die in an hour, and I can't get to see you and hold your hand and hug you or anything like that.
Yeah.
How evil was this shit?
In addition, this is assuming that businesses are following the protocols that we put out about diligent cleaning requirements, et cetera.
That we pulled right
Any
out
business that can't maintain their current occupancy or these new occupancy rules, with that diligent cleaning, they should contact Empire State Development, and Empire State Development will give them what's called a close order, direct them to close. That's important for businesses for legal reasons.
Well, at least this doesn't sound authoritarianism or anything like that.
No,
authoritarianism going on at all.
It doesn't sound communist at all.
No. I mean, oh my God, you just sit there and go, are you freaking kidding me that this shit was actually even implemented? Unbelievable. Yeah, there's definitely more. Here's one. Oh, here's our good buddy Bill de Blasio, the mayor of New York at the time.
Oh, that's a name I haven't heard in a while.
He was a bozo. Bill de Blasio. This is him talking about the mass shutdowns,
but people have to realize at this point that this disease is going to put many people, thousands and tens of thousands.
But look at all the people gathering.
Did you hear what he said? This disease?
Yeah, let's go back.
It was a cold.
Oh yeah,
It was a virus.
Let's
listen to disease. Who has a disease?
I know. Oh my God.
Is going to put many people.
Go back a little bit more. Sorry.
This disease is going to put many people, thousands and tens of thousands of people's lives in danger. I suspected that we were all going to be about to close them down, and this would be the last chance to get some exercise. I got no exercise whatsoever over the weekend. I was in this building
over the weekend
a huge percentage of the time. You know, how could indoor dining still be open in gyms? And I wish they could stay open. I really do, because I feel for the business owners. I need exercise to be able to stay healthy and make decisions. I'm going to figure out some new way to do it going forward.
A number of days ago, there were.
But by all means, shut down the gyms.
Yeah, shut them down.
Because being healthy, heaven forbid we should exercise, eat right, not take a bunch of bullshit into our bodies and fight it off that way with our natural immune systems.
So what are the two big diseases, Barn? The two big in our lifetimes, okay? So you had AIDS and you have cancer, right? Yeah. I mean, that's what it seems like to me. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
AIDS was rampant. It went nuts in the 90s, right?
You know who
cancer's been there for a long time.
But you know who preceded over the AIDS epidemic, didn't you? None other than Anthony Fauci.
Really?
Oh, you didn't know that?
Well, that was the first Bush era, right?
Yeah.
That was
84.
That was senior Bush, right?
Yeah, that was 84. No, that was still Reagan, because Reagan came into office in 81.
Yeah, but that whole push. I remember I'm like, my head's going back to MTV, and they were doing those anti-AIDS ads and stuff. But anyway, so they didn't shut down schools. They didn't shut down businesses. They didn't do a vaccine. They couldn't, they didn't do a vaccine in 2 weeks. They didn't, they weren't having rallies. It wasn't a State Department issue, right?
Right.
But
remember who this affected most.
Exactly.
Most, not all, but it affected mostly the gay and lesbian population.
Right. And so they were just kind of like, okay, we'll let it go. Let it go.
Yeah.
Let them do their ads.
Be
They
careful.
can have rallies,
Protected sex.
and then we'll figure out. But that's an autoimmune disease, right?
Yeah. Right.
That's a disease.
Right.
Cancer. It's a disease. I mean, and it runs rampant, and it'll get you. So what is it now? 20 years later? 20, almost 30 years later, Barn? 30 years later, they have
near 40.
Yeah. They have
Actually, it is 40, 84 to now. That's 40 years.
They have, God, we're getting old.
I know, right?
You're getting old. I'm still young.
Thanks. But I look good though.
You look amazing.
Thank you. Pretty good for being 75. Just saying.
But now they have, now they have drugs for it. Now you can, because people were dropping like flies. You get AIDS, you're dead. That's what it was back then. Yeah. You get AIDS, you're dead.
Manage
and that's what was happening. And because people weren't keen and knowledgeable on what to do with autoimmune diseases. They didn't know. You know what I mean? And it's a rough thing. Now there's a ton of autoimmune diseases out there, and a lot of it, I think, is caused by the hormones that are put in our food. And not to go off on a different rant.
We're going to dive into that too, by the way.
Yes. I have Crohn's disease, and that's autoimmune, and I can't, some things I can't process. However, so there's a lot of stuff out there, right? But the AIDS epidemic, people were just dropping like flies. Now,
supposedly,
you can live until you're 80.
Yeah,
having AIDS, right?
Magic
you
Johnson.
You can have sex with the partner and not transmit it to your partner. Having AIDS now.
Well, you remember Magic Johnson from the Lakers?
Yeah, Magic.
He had HIV. He's still around 40 years later.
Yeah.
So it's like you're saying, it's we're managing it with the drugs. And I hope he's doing other things like a healthy diet and other things like that, which also help to boost his immune system and whatnot.
Why can't we do that with cancer? That's a question. And we'll dive into that on another episode. But at the same time too, they were calling COVID a disease.
Yeah.
It was a cold. It was a flu virus.
It was a virus. It wasn't a disease.
Come
It was a virus. Well, how can I scare you if I don't really kind of put the fear of God in you and say that this is a disease that you will die from?
Exactly. It was the fear mongering that killed people.
Yeah.
It was the fear mongering that killed people.
Yep. Exactly. Well, let's get back into speaking of fear mongers. Let's grab back into this douchebag right here.
6 Bay Area counties that led with stay-at-home orders. Now, as I speak, some 21.3 million Californians reside in a community, in a city and or county that have similar orders.
We wanted to know if you have lost credibility after photos have circulated of you at the birthday party earlier this month. You weren't wearing a mask in those photos, and yet you were talking very closely with other people.
We're not telling people they can't eat, but indeed, I made a mistake being with a few extra people beyond the guidelines that I've been promoting.
As Dr. Fauci said earlier, and I wish the president would listen to him or hear him even, that you just cannot think that this is pretend it went away and go out there. I think that that Bishop Salon owes me an apology for setting up.
Oh my God, she's now the victim. Do you not see what is going on with our supposed leaders when they get caught being hypocritical?
Then they automatically turn into the victim.
They're the victim. Oh, that salon owes me an apology for setting me up. Wait a minute. So you've implemented lockdowns. You've implemented all these mandates where you have to wear a mask and you have to stay 600,000 yards apart from each other. And you knowingly went to the salon to get your hair done because God forbid you don't look good, Nancy. And then all of a sudden you're calling the salon the bad guy in this situation.
Yeah.
And you're the victim.
Well, yeah, because they can't take responsibility for their actions. They can't come back and say they're wrong. Right. They can't. I mean, there's no excuse really.
Right.
And they have to grasp at straws at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's continue on some more. I got a few more to get through, and then we're going to get to the meat of this whole episode here that hopefully opens people's eyes to what's.
Wendy, I'm going to take my mask off when I speak.
I will as well. I'm waiting so that we can do a little political theater.
Okay. Stay home. Stay home. Stay at home as much as possible.
We found out about your trip through a tip. Had that not happened, it's possible you might have left, come back last night. We wouldn't be having this interview right now because no one would be the wiser. Did you think you were going to go on this trip and no one would find out about it?
You know, I never even thought about it. It was a personal trip, personal time. And
so is my decision when I make decisions about my life.
You're going against COVID restrictions?
Yeah. Well, it's a personal decision.
Personal time, personal decision. I want to take my kids to the park.
I wasn't
personal decision. He can do it. Why can't I do it?
Fair time. Yeah. It's a personal decision.
Is he vaccinated? Was he vaccinated?
Oh, I don't know. Let's see. Let's see if they
was he safe.
You know, I've traveled several times since the pandemic began.
You know, what is your message to the people who apparently are tired of wearing the mask over their nose as well as their mouth? They think it's uncomfortable and annoying, and it's just too much for them to handle, so they're just not doing it. Thank you.
Thank you. You know what's really uncomfortable and annoying?
Oh, God.
When you die.
Hey, how you doing? How you doing? You're having fun with your
Where's your mask, guy?
Oh my God! I mean,
mask.
And you know what's uncomfortable? And when you die. Oh, really? Actually, that's kind of peaceful, from what I understand. Not really uncomfortable.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, whatever. Look at this douchebag.
family. In the meantime, you're having all kind of other bullshit going on at your house. Social distancing works.
Oh,
please pay attention.
You idiot.
Stay home. Save lives.
But a photo that surfaced on social media showing the mayor after getting a trim has some asking, what about me? The mayor was asked at least twice about the haircut this afternoon.
I'm out in the public eye, and you know, I'm a person who I take my personal hygiene very seriously.
Oh, do you?
As I said, I felt like I needed to have a haircut. Getting your roots done is not essential. Felt like I needed to have a haircut. What am I doing right now?
No.
Saving lives.
10
Felt
minutes.
like I needed to have a haircut.
When you're 85 years old on your deathbed.
I mean, dude, that goes on for another.
Hypocrisy was.
That's yet another one we set up. It just I could go on. I'm going to scroll through. Here's one. Oh, this one is probably relevant right before we get into the meat of what we're going to talk about, and you have to show this one because it's a household that has been, and I think this was in Australia. Doesn't matter if it's Australia. Australia was the worst. New Zealand's even worse than they were. But this one shows the cops coming into the house because they're having a get together.
Images like these have become all too familiar during lockdown. Now the government has had enough.
There is still a small minority who refuse to do the right thing.
The right thing.
And to them, my message is clear. If you don't follow these rules, then the police will enforce them.
Police will enforce
them. What does that sound like? Sound like a little SS, a little brown shirt action going on? Maybe.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah. Yes, a lot.
Just a little bit like, you're not doing the right thing, according to us. Maybe because we want you to comply. We want you to follow the rules that we set for you that we are not following ourselves because we're going to go to restaurants and hair salons and get haircuts and different things like that. But
we're making it up to control the masses.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're outside of those masses, if you're the one sheep that kind of strays off and says, no, I'm going to go do my own thing, and you're not in the herd,
right,
you're going to get arrested.
Exactly.
Police officers are now moving more quickly to handing out fines when they encounter breaches, and they have my absolute backing in doing so.
South Yorkshire Police issued 127 fixed penalty notices last week, 92 of which were for indoor gatherings.
Police here in London issued almost £40,000 worth of fines in the space of 2 days in just 2 boroughs last weekend. And one senior officer here at the...
More propaganda against the people that this is the thing that's going to kill you or something?
$40,000 in 2 nights in 2 boroughs. That's insane.
I know.
Met has said those having house parties during a global pandemic are insulting the country's frontline workers.
Isn't that interesting?
You know what the funny thing was is that kind of brought back house parties.
Oh yeah.
You know, I've been a bar goer for a while. I like going to the bar. I like talking to people. Like hanging out. However, I like hanging at the house too, dude. Garage drinking.
Oh God, yeah.
Wrenching on the truck a little bit. Couple buddies come over, dude. Well, we're having garage beers until 4 a.m.
Oh yeah,
it's a great thing. And we started doing that more and more and more often. I mean, we had to. We couldn't go anywhere. Everyone, you know, business, all the bars
figure out something because everything was closed. And not that you weren't
mask of the bar. I drink a beer through a mask.
Yeah. But it's not like you weren't willing and able to go out. It's just nothing was open because these assholes forced everybody to close.
Well, and now you get into that mindset, and to be honest, I'm in that mindset too. Like I had so much fun having garage beers.
Yeah,
I'd rather go have garage beers than go out anymore. And it sucks because, you know, that $100 that I would have spent, you know, on beer and tips and whatever, I'm not spending that anymore. And there's a lot of people like me that, you know, that did that whole thing. And now those workers are suffering because of it. And those businesses are suffering because of it. But you got me into this groove where, you know, I'm more comfortable just having garage beers rather than go out to the bar.
Oh, exactly.
Sorry.
I know. Yeah, I mean, this is just, it's sheer madness of everything that's going on. And I almost hate looking back on this stuff because I just want to forget about it, but we can't forget about it because this will happen again if we let it. So we need to kind of go in here, and I lost where this guy was.
Well,
oh, here it is.
Now, while you're looking for that, I'm going to reiterate that point because within a week on Google, on what was it? Go Fetch Me or whatever. I don't know that other search engine.
Oh yeah.
2 days after the first assassination attempt, where he actually got shot.
Right.
2 days. I had to scroll 3 pages in to find that headline. 3 pages in, Barn.
Yeah.
And you're telling me that they're not trying to wash this stuff away?
They're trying not to censor. They're trying to, you know, push the narrative down a certain direction.
They want us to forget about it. They want to desensitize us to it.
Yeah.
I mean, almost the whole world came to a standstill.
Yeah.
For months when fucking JFK got assassinated.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? There were songs written about it. There were protests. There were riots. There was 2 days later, the guy gets shot in the ear.
Yeah.
Had he turned, you know, an inch more, it would have went through his head.
I mean,
and we would have saw something crazy.
He literally turned his head at the last second like this. Boom.
Yeah.
I mean, it was that quick.
It was that close. It was seconds and millimeters.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
And 2 days later, it's washed away.
It's more this. It's propaganda. We have a propaganda media. You know, the mainstream media. It's a propaganda media. They're pushing one side of the issue. They're pushing one party. They don't like anything that the other party is doing or saying, and they protect their own. they let people get away with saying things that they would not let the other party get away with. So now they're talking about, going in because they don't want you to, gather in groups, gather in parties and all this stuff because it's about saving lives. Remember that? It's about saving lives. Oh, is it? Yeah. So now we find out 4 years later, 3 years later, that more of this stuff is coming out that is bullshit.
Bullshit.
Like we've been watching all of these things. You remember all this shit? Remember Nancy and I remember, Newsom going to the French Laundry, the most expensive restaurant in the world with that party with his friends. And that's what it was. The most expensive restaurant in the world. I don't think a lot of people realize that.
Yeah.
I think it's in like Napa or Sonoma, something like that. Anyway, so we've been told we can't gather. People are going into houses. The cops are going to houses, arresting people for having people hang out together, like you were saying. Well, what else am I going to do? I can't go to a bar. They've closed. You have closed them all down. So I'm going to have friends hang out over here. My life, my choice, my body, right? Something like that. My body, my choice. Something like that.
Yeah. Imagine that.
So, yeah. So now you have kind of this scumbag who was the responder, this Dr. J. Varma. Okay. He was the former senior advisor for the public health of the New York City mayor's office from 2020 to 2021. Now, what happened during 2020 and 2021? I can't remember.
Oh, this is I was chomping at the bit to get to this. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. It is hilarious. And let's also remember the gatherings getting together that also ties with other things that are going on right now, like the biggest distraction of the world, the Diddy parties.
The smoke show.
The smoke show. The greatest LeBron. Oh, there's nothing like a Diddy party. How would you know that, LeBron? How would you know that? So they're getting together, they're doing their thing, right? And we've all heard the parties going on and the Justin Bieber and everything else. And we talked about that in another one. And we're going to talk about it in another one because there's more that keeps coming out. So they're doing their thing. Apparently COVID rules don't apply to them as well. But listen to this guy. If you haven't heard this is going to kind of, and if you don't sit there and rethink everything you've been thinking, if you were the follower of this whole plan that they pushed you into where you had to stay at home and you couldn't do this, that, and the other, this should change your whole mind and outlook. And if it doesn't, there's no hope for you at this point, I swear.
I actually was the one who convinced the mayor to make it a mandate.
Like New York City found out that you're having sex parties during COVID?
Yeah, it would have been real bad.
This guy.
Some like underground dance party, like underneath a bank and Wall Street. And we were all rolling, we were all taking Molly, and everybody's high.
Everybody's high.
The shorter one. Look at this guy. So while we're all having this lockdown, this guy's having sex parties. It's just a bunch of friends get together,
Just hanging out, having sex parties.
Yeah.
Everybody's vaxxed at our sex parties.
Of course.
Everybody's sick.
They just fired him from the drug company he worked with, Sega or Sega or whatever it is. It's just
this thing. Okay. I mean, and those who are watching, you may, maybe think that we're just grabbing stuff to kind of back our points, and they're not validated. But go back because our whole thing and our whole overlook is question everything, and that's what the Rude Barn's about, and we do the deep dives because we question everything, and these are the things that we come up with, and we're not just throwing stuff up there to kind of back our points or anything like that, but really we're showing you what happened, what people were doing, how
they were reacting, and what kind of lives that they had got shut down,
right?
And that they felt they couldn't do anything.
Yeah, and I mean, do we think that's fair? Like your average person, they scared us so much. Like I said, they scared us so much that I was looking over my shoulders while I had my kids at the park because I thought we might get arrested.
Yeah.
But these guys were having sex parties.
Right.
Were they vaxxed? Were they unvaxxed? I mean, I guess if it was a gathering under 500 people, they had 499 freaks there at the freak show, at the Diddy parties.
Good.
Like just
we got $4.99. You can leave now, officer.
Did you get your count?
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, so you actually have to count? Oh, okay. Tell Fred to get out the back door now.
Closet, get in the closet. 500, get in the closet.
Get under the floorboards. We have it's safe.
Hide under them down there.
Get underneath.
Oh shit! There's a pallet of baby oil under there. Sorry, you got hiding in the guest bathroom
We
downstairs.
got crates of it. We got 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
In the crates.
Hide behind there. They'll never look at that.
They'll never find you. They're not
They'll
going.
never find you. Cover yourself in baby oil. It'll be like the Predator. He can't see your thermal signature because you're covered in baby oil. There's no thermal heat signature.
No
now.
heat signature. Hiding the dildo basket. Yeah.
Oh my god. Anyway, let's get into this because Steven Crowder, if you never watched Louder with Crowder and you think he's a jerk, it doesn't really matter. He's exposed this, and everybody should be watching, grateful he did this. And you should be pissed because listen to this weasel, that same guy that we just saw, Dr. J. Varma, and he was sitting there, and this guy got confronted, and you should see his response on this whole thing when this gets going. I mean, it is just unbelievable. And I mean, you sit there and you'll just go, I'm sorry, what am I listening to? Is this guy for real? And this guy incriminates himself more than anything you have ever seen in your entire life. Now, check this out. Watch.
I introduce you to Dr. J. Varma, the man widely touted as the COVID architect in charge of New York City's COVID response, the right-hand man to Mayor Bill de Blasio, who in his own words convinced the mayor to do the mandate. In short,
unbelievable. The
man who brought down a city that had 2,800 small businesses closed.
And let me just interject. This didn't just affect New York City. This response, these rules that he implemented were implemented all across the country because of New York City.
Yeah.
Even though Iowa or South Dakota has like nothing compared to in population to New York or California, but the same rules applied across the board. It started here, and everybody thought, oh, like a baby seal. Oh, that's such a great idea.
Well,
let's implement it here.
I mean, New York's just kind of like DC. So, you know, in DC, like if you're ever in DC, like downtown, most of that city is just it's a garbage pail, right? Yeah. The only good thing there is, you know, the government buildings. But still, you look at those, it's like looking at the senior in high school. So you see what they're doing, and everybody's gonna kind of do the same thing, right? Yeah. And especially if you know, you get the hammer down on, you know, whatever sister cities are going to be involved, and everybody's going to follow suit.
Yep. Yeah.
It's that trickle down effect.
And that's the point that, you know, he's trying to make here is this just didn't affect New York City. This guy and his policies and what he put forth and his little mandates went beyond New York City and went all the way to the West Coast and everywhere in between. And I would even submit to say that it went to Australia, it went to New Zealand, it went to Europe, it went to Asia, it went everywhere around the world because of this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, was he the only one? No. But you get the idea of what I'm saying is that this was all implemented because of what he did. 2,800 businesses, small businesses closing in New York City since March at this time. when it was talked about, with 77,000 possible more in the future. Small businesses. That's like a business. You and I run our own businesses. That's like a mom and pop shop.
Well, we're smaller than
antique
small
store.
business. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it just
never to be reopened. A city of failing test scores after over 1 million students were kept out of classrooms for more than a year.
That's another evil.
In a city where tens of thousands of New Yorkers
consequence too.
Simply left. Today's Mug Club Undercover video saw Varma brag to our journalist about his medical background at places like the CDC, his newfound celebrity.
It's kind of a treat to hear you describe me as a celebrity.
His influence over the city. How he was able to force mass vaccination on people by making them, quote, uncomfortable through applying both financial and social pressure.
It's like, okay, I'm just going to get vaccinated.
And he even gleefully bragged that he was the man responsible for making it.
See that? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Let's make people feel uncomfortable and say, well, if I want to do this, well, fuck it, I'll just get vaccinated.
Yeah.
Does that not piss anyone off? It pissed me off. And I lost out on a few things that I wanted to do because of that, because I was going to say, you know what? No, that's not right. I shouldn't have to get this jab so I can do something that I normally do in the history of my life. And every other life prior to this,
and be free and do what I want to do.
Right. It's just, oh, well, we'll just make it so uncomfortable that they'll just submit and they'll succumb and they'll abide, comply. Unbelievable.
It impossible for Kyrie Irving to play for the Nets. I wonder how Mr. Irving feels about that.
So I like to keep that stuff private.
Of course, Varma himself wasn't affected. While New Yorkers were allowed to gather indoors and many watched their loved ones die alone, he bragged about having drug-fueled sex parties. You can watch the whole piece by clicking the link in the description there. But something important here, in reviewing the footage.
I will put that link into our description so you can watch the whole interview, because you need to watch it. Hopefully, this has a little bit where he does talk to the guy. I can't remember, but I think it does.
One thing stood out to me. Not once did he show anything resembling remorse.
Yeah, you can keep it. Yeah.
Never once did this man, the trusted authority for New Yorkers and for many across the country, ever seem to have a remote interest in self-reflection or even the possibility of acknowledging the destruction that residents faced as the result of his policy. And if he's so sure about the righteousness of the policies he advocated, why didn't he follow them? Why did he demand submission through fear from the citizens of New York over something that he did not fear himself at all?
Yeah, you think they maybe knew something we didn't?
It was all horse shit.
Of course it was horse shit.
You know, and for the listeners out there, I hope this is an eye-opener on really kind of how you were duped.
Right.
We question it from the beginning, and that's that's why we bring this up, and that's why we want to bring it to the forefront again. We were questioning the whole thing at the time, because we're just that way. It's in our nature. But the sad thing is there were so many people that didn't question it. They didn't say anything. They got scared into doing these things. And then like I said, like they said in the video, you saw family members die. You couldn't, behind a plexiglass, you couldn't touch them. You couldn't say goodbye. You saw this unnecessary closure of business and tank of the economy because of it.
Right.
And there was really, right here, you're seeing firsthand, there was no good reason, because he didn't believe in this shit.
No.
He was touting it.
Yeah.
But he didn't believe. Look at him.
Oh,
he's having sex parties, hanging out, eating steaks, drinking wine, wherever he wants to go.
As long as he was able to have sex with his friends, his friends' wives, and all these things, it's what they were doing, and he was happy. I had a friend had a friend, still a friend, who wanted to see his grandchildren. He's not much older than I am, but he's got grandkids, and he couldn't see them. And so he said, well, dude, you have to understand, I had to get this stupid thing so I could see my grandkids.
So he got the jab so he could see the grandkids.
Right. Does anyone out there think, wait a minute, how freaking wrong and sad and a bunch of bullshit is that he had to go get something he didn't want, regrets it to today, other than the fact that he was able to see his grandkid. I'm sorry, who's stopping you?
Nobody's stopping him. He wasn't going to get arrested. He's stopping himself because
this
of the
was
fear that they imposed on him. You know what I mean?
This was the biggest scam ever perpetrated on the world.
I went on a date with a gal, and she said, first thing she said, this was like in 2023, early 2023, I believe.
Yeah.
First thing she said was, so when did you get vaxxed? First thing she said,
none of your business, first of all.
I went and picked her up, hi, how you doing? We take a ride in the vehicle, right? We go to dinner. We sit down at dinner, we get comfortable. First thing, so when did you get vaxxed? No, it's like
the day before never.
I didn't get vaxxed.
Yeah.
There's no way I was getting vaxxed. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
She says, you should probably take me home. I said, wow.
Wow. Are you freaking kidding me? All right.
And the thing was, at the point, like I was at the point where, like, I didn't even want to have the discussion. I didn't want to have the argument. I said, okay, grab your shit. I'm taking you home.
Nice to meet you. Take care.
If your first question is, when did you get vaccinated? I know that that's somebody that's not going to listen to reason.
Nope. No, not worth even wasting your time on.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
And this is what this shit turned everybody into.
Mm-hmm.
It's just horrible.
That's the question that ate at me, and one that hasn't been answered by any of those caught violating their own guidelines since 2020, from Gavin Newsom to Gretchen Whitmer to Nancy Pelosi. Now, we may never be able to get them to answer, but today I was able to ask Dr. J. Varma.
Oh my gosh!
There you go. We got to play some of this.
No, we do some corporate events and stuff like that too. So he's one of those clients. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually had a problem with one of the.
Feel comfortable?
I'll
guys
talk to you about it later. But,
Oh my gosh! This is so random.
I know.
Like, what are the odds in New York City?
Well, I wasn't supposed to be here, but I just got into town here yesterday.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! How
So-
exciting! Well,
Are you guys?
we're just.
I haven't been
hanging
here.
out. What are you doing?
He's like going, no, don't ask him to sit down. I'm trying to have a date with you.
It's supposed to be working, but I don't think I'm.
Okay.
You
Do you want to have?
Yeah,
do you
grab a
want-
drink. No, yeah, grab a
Okay,
drink.
cool.
Okay, cool.
We're gonna have one drink when we
Please,
get out
I'm
of
a
here.
random dude.
Sure,
who's
yeah.
The third wheel who's getting in the way of my date.
Does that work? Okay, I'll speak.
So what do you work on then? McKinsey's.
Well, I work in media.
How would you react if you're sitting with a girl, you're trying to get a date, and some guy that she knows walks by and she invites him to sit down? At that point, are you just like, hey, you know what? I gotta go. Good to see you guys. You guys catch up. You haven't seen each other in a while. I'm heading out.
Call me later. Like,
Yeah.
I'll be at the house having sex parties. So
Yeah.
just
But
call
not
me a
this
week
guy.
later.
He stays because he still thinks he has a shot with her.
Yeah, it's honestly this big guilt complex. So we have to do these fundraisers every now and then. And it's like, save the koalas or turpid sloth or whatever the hell it is.
So you're saving the whale.
It's an environmental thing. We're not. I don't really know how much we're. You hope.
No mandatory restrictions in New York, and I know this. I was always on board. There were no
By the way,
mandatory
so she
restrictions.
gets this fake phone call from somebody from work that she has to go take. So that's how she gets up and leaves, and then leaves him, Steven Crowder, sitting there with this guy by himself. I just want to jump ahead a little bit because it goes on.
And there was widespread COVID. And what happened? The entire city shut down because no cafe had a work.
But my point is when there were shutdowns and restrictions, it seems like rules for thee, not for me. If you're having sex parties with people,
also later
hotels.
I think the idea with all of that was basically, again,
if you're having sex parties and dance parties with 200 people, while people there get punished if there are 10 or more at a gathering, or more than 40, and you have a dance party of 500 people. That seems like. My question is, you obviously doing that.
Isn't that true with everything though in life?
No, not everyone's having sex parties when they encourage lockdowns for other people.
No, but there's a million rules.
If you weren't afraid of it, why those policies? My point. If you're afraid of it, you wouldn't be having sex parties and you wouldn't be having dance parties with 200 people when everyone else is locked down.
No, because I'm saying that it's not.
And not checking for vaccinations.
It's not individual,
right?
No, it was totally different issues. I mean, I think
you know what I'm talking about.
What I'm trying to get at is the main issue is it's not about individual level risk. It's the same thing as driving.
But it is about you as a government official being the architect of the policy,
So those things are
having sex parties and having dance parties while businesses are being shut down. And New York sees an unemployment that's twice the national average as a result of policy.
During the time I was going to these dance parties and the.
What do you think these two gals behind him are talking about? They're probably leftist libs who are just like going, "What the hell is this guy talking about? COVID was the greatest thing ever. We we saved lives because of this."
I mean,
this
it's that same douchebag conversation that are at all coffee shops. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Sorry,
idiots.
sorry. If you listeners, sorry. I shouldn't have said that.
We should. Yeah, we apologize.
But most of the time, those are the kind of conversations that people are having at their coffee shops and your ninth and all this kind of stuff. I mean, come on.
And they're all of the same hive mind. They're all the same thought processes. And yes, no. Not everybody thinks the same. But
you're not changing the world.
Yeah, but these people, New York, I mean, it's vastly Democrat, and they all fell into this, and they're probably not pissed at Varma for what he's doing if they're able to hear this conversation, which it sounds like it does. They're pissed at Crowder because he's challenging him and saying, well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You had sex parties while you put everybody else in lockdown and you're out gallivanting around putting your junk in other people. I mean, come on.
That was okay. Nobody got COVID at those parties, right?
Right.
No.
Well, no, they didn't because they were lubed up with baby oil and everything.
They were all vaxxed.
Right.
They were protected from us.
They had that iron curtain between them.
Let me see your vax card before you come to the sex party and teach you.
Yeah. Oh my God.
You weren't having sex parties? And then dance parties?
No. My wife and I had a party with like 10 people who everybody got vaccinated. Not vaccinated, everybody got tested and things like that.
There was over 12 people when the gatherings at that point you had to do in secret because no one else could gather 10 or more. People were dying alone because they couldn't visit members in the hospital.
I think you're missing the bigger picture.
And when you had 200 at the dance party, that's 5 times the amount for everyone else living in this city.
I wasn't at any big. I don't know why you're talking about me specifically. I wasn't at any dance parties. I was literally.
Yeah, you did. You had a dance party of 200 plus people. You didn't check their vaccination status.
No, that I went to.
Yeah.
Just like when? Oh, we're trying to move in.
No, they want to bring it up.
He's like, I'll show you the video.
How long does it take this? Yeah. How long does it take this guy to realize that? Wait a minute. Am I being set up here? Because you seem to know a hell of a lot about me, and you just met me. It's like,
yeah.
That's weird. Oh, and now you have a dossier. I think it says like, you have a dossier on me, and he keeps rattling out the shit.
It's just like show you the video that you recorded at your sex party.
Yeah, exactly. Here, let's look a little bit more. This is hilarious.
I mean,
this is great.
This week, actually, like later this week. Like in the summer, I think the first time I went to a dance party was like the summer of 20.
I understand though how that's a tough sell to the American people.
We had an outdoor event in July. I get to spend more time with the summer of COVID or something like that. I think we were at an outdoor event in the summer of 2020. I don't know how much. I wasn't at an event the summer of 2020.
So
it was an outdoor event.
You had sex parties.
You have a dossier on me?
Yeah.
What is going on here?
Well, a lot of people have been affected by this policy, and my question is genuine. It's just level with me here.
More offensive.
You weren't afraid of it. Here, we got the mandate clip.
But why? What is going on here?
Get vaccinated? Sex parties. That you had sex parties where you rented a hotel. Everyone had a blast. The timeline is that is during the time when people were still being locked down. And then you had dance party later on. This was in May or June of 2021, which still would have been 5 times beyond the amount that everyone else in the city was permitted.
Yeah, so when the war happened,
And
they split. Yeah, the summer of 2021.
And Kyrie Irving wasn't able to play basketball because he wouldn't be vaccinated. But you're at a dance party.
What's going on here? Are you trying to like?
Yeah, I can tell you. So I'm Steven Crowder, and I know everything that you have been talking about.
Okay.
And a lot of people have been negatively affected by your policies here in this country. And I just want you to level with me at this point. If you were living where you're not afraid of it,
we're gonna try to say, like,
I mean, right now you're giving me the story of it's only a certain amount of people who wear masks.
Yeah.
You haven't sex parties while that's happening. You're having dance parties.
I'm also telling stories to somebody.
And you also and the teachers, you have kids. I mean, New York, the results have been abysmal. I mean, the decline.
I'm telling stories to people I'm dating. He's married. Apparently, they have an open marriage, which isn't really
that happens. I mean, we live in Utah. We know what that's about.
Right. Yeah. Polygamy. He goes on. I won't get into it because we're an hour and a half now, and we can trust me. We can go on. But this is coming out, and he got fired from the SIGA pharmaceutical company he was also working for. He's no longer the New York City health official of some sort or anything like that. All of it's coming out. He's backpedaling. He's trying to cover his ass. He's trying to say that he was set up. Like, no, kind of, yeah, but
but the thing is too is he's acting like a prick about it. Like, yeah. if and he's like, oh, what do you got? And then I mean, I get like when you're caught, and so you're sitting there, you're taking the brunt of it. Okay, but at the same time, like, he's denying it. Like, he denied it so much that Crowder had to bring up a dossier on him.
Right.
And then, and then he said, what are you trying to do? What is it? Dude.
Trying to expose the bullshit, dude.
Trying to call you out on this crap. I mean, will you come clean now?
Yeah.
To the American people and the businesses that you hurt and the people that you fear-mongered. I mean, come on.
People whose lives you upended and ruined.
To hold you accountable a little bit.
Yeah, your policies destroyed a lot of people. Your policies messed with people's heads.
It destroyed people's lives.
Destroyed their lives. Destroyed their retirement. Destroyed their livelihoods.
Yeah, on every single level. And you're just shrugging it off in a cafe.
Yeah.
Drinking mimosas? Like, come on, man.
How arrogant can you be? This guy thought he was untouchable. That's why he's sitting there still.
Well, Barn, one of the things that bothers me, I guess, about our government and the system and the D system, and sorry, those who are listening, we tend to run on the R side and the red side. But and one of those reasons is because they want complete and total power.
Yep.
We don't subscribe to that. Yeah. There has to be, an equal share of power. Now, and I agree. I don't think there should be, the House and the Senate should not be controlled by one party. Okay. Because you get in that party mindset, and then everything you start doing is for the party and it's not for the people. And that's what I think the D's have lost.
Yeah.
They're doing it for the party and the betterment of their pockets rather than the core reason that got them in there was to make change for the people.
Right.
It's the people that matter. It's not your pockets that matter. It's not the goddamn color that matters. It's not the party that matters. It's the people. And when you lose sight of that, this is the kind of thing that starts happening, and you start falling down those holes that are obviously compromising your character,
your integrity,
compromising your integrity,
your morals,
and then makes people throw their hands up at what's going on, because this is what you're representing. This is what you're showing us. Are you kidding me? How can we believe in that system?
Yeah. Well, that's what we're trying to expose here and let people realize. You and I probably caught a lot of shit from everybody who fell into the narrative that they were pushing, that we have to stay 6 feet apart. We have to wear masks. We have to stay at home. We have to not go to work. We're not essential. Although we are, if we have to pay our mortgages and we were, and we have to contribute to the bills that keep coming in.
Yeah.
And we were chastised. We were ridiculed. We were told, "Oh, you're killing my mother. You're killing my grandmother. You're killing this, that, and the other."
Oh, dude.
And it's just like, okay, no, because if you thought that this vaccine worked, and most of you did, because that's why you went and got it.
Mm-hmm.
It was supposed to stop the transmission. It was supposed to keep you from getting sick, yet you still got sick. You still did this, that, and the other. But before that, you still said, those of us who didn't get vaccinated, we had to wear masks. We couldn't go to concerts, or we couldn't go flying. We couldn't go to restaurants because we were not vaccinated.
Well, how many families did this tear apart?
Yeah.
Because you got half of the family, you're like, nah, this is kind of.
And you still have that today.
Yeah, you do. You do. And then people are like, oh, well, it's my daughter's birthday. Who's your niece or whatever? Yeah. And but
you can come because
but you have to wear a mask if you're going to come to the birthday party. Are you vaccinated? Yeah. So we're only accepting vaccinated people to our kids' birthday party. So you can't go and see family.
Yeah.
And it's still happening today, where you can't go and see family. You can't be involved in birthday parties. You can't be involved in bar mitzvahs or whatever the hell, because they're still afraid of the vaccine or of the sickness, of the COVID.
The disease, the virus.
The disease. Yeah. No, it's not a virus, Barn. It's a disease.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I think it's a mental disease is what it is.
Well, it definitely is.
That's
what
and
it's sad, because it's like, unless you want to get in an argument about this, and you're not talking to people who have an open mind about things, or willing to listen to, like, well, wait a minute, there's a reason here that I should be listening to, that maybe this wasn't all it was cracked up to be. You just almost don't even want to get into the conversation, because you know what, you're not even going to listen. I don't care that you did it, sort of, for the most part, although I think you probably shouldn't have, because you didn't need to, but you fell for it. But you can't discuss it in an adult manner,
Fauci himself came out and basically said it was bullshit.
Yeah.
Like the man himself, that you guys held on to every word that he was saying.
Yeah.
And everything that he was telling the CDC.
Yeah.
When he comes out, what was it, a year ago? And basically said, our research was a little off.
A little.
A little off?
No,
it was complete bullshit.
Right.
And people...
If a little means a lot, then yeah, you're right.
I mean, come on. You can't have your head that deep in the sand, people. You can't do it.
You can't. And please, if you have the cojones to get this shirt and wear it around to try to trigger people, oh, please do.
Take a picture, and we will put it on the cast, because we love it, and I'll put it on all my media stuff, because it's
let us know how that goes, how many people you trigger wearing that shirt. And
matter of fact, we should give a few away to the top commenters. Yeah.
We'll try to give a few away for sure, because I think it's a good. Etsy.com/shop/the-rude-barn. Check this out, please. If you go get it, all the proceeds go to help us try to run this show and do more and have fun with it. Again, We're not here to chastise or disagree with or piss anyone off who doesn't agree with us. We don't expect you to agree with us, and that's okay.
You don't, because we want to have the conversation.
Yeah. I just want you to realize, we just want you to realize that there's another side of the story that you're probably not getting, and that when you do find out that people like this piece of shit in New York, Jay Varma, set rules for everyone that was based on absolutely nothing, and he and Newsom and Pelosi and all these other jerkheads in the government were telling us we couldn't do things. You're arresting people on paddle boards and running on the moms, and that this was all bullshit. Why this guy's going out and having sex parties, everybody to close their businesses. It's just like, oh my God, really?
Well, and that's the whole thing. I mean, the stuff's out there.
Wake up.
And just to answer that question, does it make sense? Does it make sense?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to us. That's why we're questioning it. That's why we're bringing it up. But you see these things. You see these things, and you support these people. But does this make sense to you?
Yeah.
Where your hands were cuffed over this.
It's okay to say, you know what, I was duped.
And it is okay. And it is okay to say, you know what, I made a mistake. This was dumb of me. I shouldn't have done this. It's okay to say that.
Well, it's also okay to say, you know what, at the time I was told this was all I had, this information I went off of, I was doing everything I could. But it's also okay to say, you know what, now that I look back on it, and now that all this evidence is coming out, that probably wasn't the right thing to do, and I will not let that happen to me or anybody else that I can think of again.
Take it as a learning experience.
Yeah.
Like I told you, Barn, and the audience, I was scared. We were all scared. We didn't know what to do.
Right.
It was very scary. And
that's probably by design too. But
one of the first phone calls that I got when they said, okay, this is happening now.
Yeah.
It was my ex-wife. I love her to death. We get along great. I bring her up from time to time because, we have conversations. But one of the first conversations, she called me and she said, we have to get the girls vaccinated. And I was like, whoa. Wait a minute. And I respect her opinion and I listened to it and everything. And I was like, they're saying that it's really not affecting kids. So I'm gonna hold out for a little bit. I'm gonna hold out for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I heard that it could be killed with Lysol. I'm a clean freak anyway. I clean the house 3 times a freaking week, right? I was like, we're not bringing it in the house. We're shut down anyway. Right. They're not going to school. They're not bringing it here. None of us have it at the house. So I don't really think it's an issue right now. Okay. Yeah. Let's just hold out and wait. Let's just hold out and wait. Hold out and wait. She reluctantly agreed. But now, hindsight, 4 years later, she's like, oh my God.
So glad we didn't. Yeah.
So glad we didn't do that to our children, you know? And it's just one of those things. And it's okay. It's okay to say you were scared. It was okay to do things when you were scared. I mean, because they were fear mongering. We didn't know what was going to happen. Like, come on. And like I said, too, then there was an earthquake. I thought the world was ending, dude. It was like we're digging bunkers in the backyard, of a rental. Like, it was wild.
It was.
And it's okay. I was scared. I can admit it. I was scared. And there was weird stuff that was going on. But it was just, it was taking the time to think about it critically.
Yep.
Take the facts in and then try to decipher the facts from the fear mongering and then make a decision. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. Lost a lot of friends over it.
Here's the other thing too, and then we'll end this, is if you were kind of out of control about it with people and told them they were going to kill your mom and you need to get vaccinated and all that stuff, and why were the people who were all on board with getting the jab and all that, so belligerent and so outspoken and loud and angry and upset with people who didn't. It's like, when is it that people who don't do what you do are evil people and should be locked up or something, or whatever, crazy thing you have? The whole point of this is we're trying to say, look, we were suspicious of this to begin with. You went along with it. But I didn't yell at you for being a freaking moron or whatever you want to call it for doing that. Your choice. You're an adult.
Mass rallies.
Yeah.
I mean, there's thousands of people at rallies wearing masks saying we should wear masks. What?
Yeah.
You're bumping elbows. We're supposed to be 6 feet apart. You're scaring me into being 6 feet apart because this guy's going to kill me over a sneeze.
I know. Yeah.
But you can be at a 1,000-person rally.
Yeah,
wearing masks and vaccinated, and you're fine.
Right? If you still believe, put in the comments if you disagree, and you still believe that what you did was right, and that you don't see the hypocrisy, or you don't see that this guy was doing one thing while telling us to do another, and you still think, well, you know what, it's okay. I still do them. I still feel good about it. Great, that's awesome. Please let us know in the comments.
I want to know the mindset behind it. To be honest,
why do you think that still?
Please,
after being shown this,
and we're not going to damn you. We're not going to shun you. We just want to have the conversation because I want to know where that mindset is, because it's it's not ours, obviously.
Because I don't get it, but that's why I want to talk to you. Yeah.
We're looking at facts. We're looking at stuff that happened. We're looking at, people that were hypocrites.
Yeah.
And we made our decision.
To do one thing.
I want to know why you made your decision.
Yeah. Yeah. And we can have a conversation about it, and it's okay. But don't hate on us because we're bringing you an alternative fact than what you were told this whole time,
duped into believing.
But at least, if nothing else, are you going to look back and say, you know what, that was pretty ridiculous that we were arresting people on the beach and in the paddleboarding and parks and stuff like that, and maybe that's not the road we want to go down for a future pandemic. And this is why the World Health Organization, the WHO, is so dangerous, is because they want to have the power over every country in the world to be able to declare a health emergency and put these lockdowns back in place for something that is not an emergency, for something they deem that overrides our Constitution, our human rights, to not have to abide by some unelected, unaccountable bunch of bureaucrats who are funded by places like China and Bill Gates. We'll have to get into another one about him and all of that, because they say that there's a world health pandemic going on, and we've got to lock everybody down again, and you can't travel, you can't do this, that, or the other. Oh my God, people, you need to wake up and realize the bigger picture in this whole thing. And this COVID-19 response was a test. In my opinion,
it was a test. It was a test, and I fully agree with you there. And if you don't think that this Diddy thing is a smokescreen for something else going on, I fear for you, because you're not, and I get it. Like we tend to ride that conspiracy train, but only because we've seen it in action over and over and over again.
Deja vu all over again.
And we're not blind to it, and we're not, taking the candy that they're giving us.
We're questioning what's going on.
Yeah, and so listen to the news, whether it's the CNN that you love, whether it's Fox that you love, whether it's whatever. Listen to the news, dive a little bit deeper, read past the first page, and see what's cooking, because there's something cooking.
Yeah.
They said that there was leaks that there was going to be another. It was a COVID-2 basically.
Yeah. Monkeypox, that M-pox.
Yeah, they're talking about M-pox now. And
say monkey. That's racist.
So be on the lookout for those kind of things, because they're whispers right now, but what do whispers turn into?
Right. Bullhorns. So
yeah.
So that's all we're saying, is we just want to present alternative information that you may not have seen, you may have seen, but question it if it sounds weird, whether you're hearing it from Fox, whether you're hearing it from MSNBC or CNN or wherever, that you just say, okay, all right, yeah, that sounds legit, or you know what, that doesn't sound right. Let me dig into that a little more. Or but no matter who it's from, and that's what we're trying to do. It's like, we don't subscribe to Fox, we don't subscribe to CNN, we don't subscribe to any of these as the authority.
Authority. Yeah.
Somebody in mainstream television, cable media are paid by somebody, and somebody who is paying you doesn't want you to go against what their beliefs and opinions and narratives are, because would they pay you to go against their ideals?
Well, you've seen those clips
usually
where you see the news broadcasters, they all have the same script. And it's
same word for word.
20, 30, 40 local news outlets.
Yeah.
They
put them all up on the screen together. Yeah.
The same ticker, the same script. I mean, doesn't that seem odd to you?
Yeah.
Doesn't it seem just why?
Yeah.
We have to report the same news. I don't know.
Word for word, by the way. Yeah.
Word for fucking word. I'll pull one of those, Barn, and we can throw it up for next time.
Yeah.
But for now, I think we've tossed this baby against the wall for long enough.
And we could go on for hours more on this, and we won't.
We love
we're almost at 2 hours. Holy crap! But
we're going to talk for another hour after we get done with this about this shit.
Yeah. There's so much more. We're going to have fun with lots of different things, but we do want to expose some of the stuff that's kind of going on. The Diddy thing is a distraction. It's also tied together with this whole thing because, they had the parties at the same time of this going on, and they didn't seem to have a problem with it. So there's so much to get into, but this has been fun. I love doing these things. I love kind of pointing this shit out. Whether we're right, whether we're wrong, it doesn't really matter. We're kind of trying to just get it out there and get your opinion on it as well.
And we have our opinion too, and it's okay for us to share our opinion, and it's okay for anybody in the chat, anybody that wants to oppose us to oppose us. Let's talk about it.
Absolutely,
we love that. We love that.
So anyway, let's check out the Fauci shirt on the Rude Barn store on Etsy, etsy.com/shop/the Rude Barn. Check that out. There's a lot of other stuff on there, and anything that we make on that, we're going to put back into the production of the podcast, so we can bring you more and more. We love doing this, don't we?
We absolutely love it. We have a great time. We love to hear ourselves talk.
Oh, what are you talking about?
And that's part of the reason why we do this. But the thing is too is I think we bring up good points and we bring up good questions. And again, our whole mantra is question everything, gang. You have to question everything. You have to do the deep dives. I did bring up Dr. Mike Schwartz, his book, Fauci's Fiction. If you can, go check it out. See if you can get it, where you can get it. Like I said, he's been shadow banned basically. I think you can still get it on Amazon. Check it out. Read through it, even just kind of read the description, and if you like it, you think that it might be something that might spark some ideas or spark a different thought, go ahead and grab it. But we like promoting our friends, our stuff. Make sure you go to the Rude Barn store on Etsy and grab some stuff. There's tons of stuff. Barn was showing this shirt that really tied into the show, but there's tons of stuff up there, and there's tons of stuff that you can get, and any support is good support, and we appreciate it.
Yep. And we also want to talk about our good friends, the Bearded Viking, and they're doing the mead and all of that. These guys are our friends and our buddies, and they are really putting up some amazing mead. if you've never had mead before, you got to try it. How many different flavors you got going on now?
Oh God, we're at, so we've got 4 in the can. We've got 4 more that are out now, and there's just 4 more brewing. Perfect. So right now we're running around 12. The next 4 will be out by mid-October, I believe. But for all the people who love fall spice in the fall,
like what spice would that be?
we have the fall spice coming out, and that's you're gonna die over it. It's good stuff. It's good
awesome
stuff. It's great.
Very cool. Well, gang, thanks so much for joining us on the Rude Barton podcast today as we try to expose the hypocrisy and all of that of the COVID response, and to see these people do what they want to do while they make us do what we don't want to do. And it's just a shame. I'm glad this is coming out. I think everybody needs to know about all of this that was happening and realize, you know what, maybe all of this was just a bunch of bullshit, because it was.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what we just want to do, is ask the questions that aren't being asked, or expose what needs to be exposed to maybe, some of you who don't really have time or want to look at some of this, but are willing to kind of check out a kind of a fun podcast like ours and just kind of get our opinion on it and see what we think. And you don't have to agree. You don't have to disagree. You don't have to whatever. Yeah. Just we hope you enjoy it and give you a little bit of entertainment as well as what we call education.
We love you nonetheless. And check it out. Like,
right.
Kami Kami, she's going to be in the wood shop a little bit later, because she's the people person. She's going to be.
She's going to interview with her later, are you?
Yeah, she's going to be making tables and stuff back there.
Yeah, maybe you can get some more vague answers from her that are poignant. And
I love her word salads. I'll toss them up and throw some chicken in there. It'll be fine.
Perfect. Love it. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for listening.
Love you. See ya.